Hi, my name is Jensen, and I will be analyzing the Giving Voice to Values case from Chapter 2 titled The Tax Return. Okay, so basically what happens in the story is that there's Brenda. She works at an accounting firm. She's preparing a tax return, and she finishes it and hands it into her manager. Her manager calls her into the office and tells her that she's not supposed to report the revenue from the client from winning the lottery. She counters and says, you know what, I want to report it because that's the law, and plus it doesn't matter. There's no net tax effect because his losses offset his revenue. Well, the manager then explains to her that that's not correct because the client will not be itemizing his deductions. Well, at this point, Brenda feels she knows that she's messed up, and she asks the manager, so are you telling me you don't want me to report the revenue? The manager tells her, I want you to go back to your desk and think about it, and just know that we value employees that are flexible. And so that's the dilemma that she's in right now. The book poses a couple questions. First of all, it asks me to analyze her alternatives using Kohlberg's 6 stages. After looking through those 6 stages, I came to the conclusion that if she was in stage 1, 2, or 3, Brenda will change the tax return. When someone's in these stages, it is they're easily influenced by others and what they will think of them, especially authority figures. They kind of see the rules as restrictions, and they think that they might be above the rules. When someone is in stages 4, 5, or 6, they probably, well, if Brenda was in these stages, she probably would not change the tax return. In these stages, she's more concerned about what is the law and standing up for what she believes is right. She will weigh the benefits and harms to society, and she will base her actions on the universal ethical principle of honesty. Okay. Another question that the textbook poses is, if Brenda has no reason to doubt that it is only a one-time request, should she change the tax return? And I say that she should not, and I would base this on the small things principle. That once a person makes, acts dishonestly or unethically, it's easier to do it the next time. And by acting dishonestly that one time, her character is kind of defined. And so I think that she should not. The next question that the textbook poses is, how could she respond to the rationalizations of her manager when she goes to meet with him again? First of all, I think she could respond with the example of Betty Vinson at WorldCom. In that situation, she was asked to do something that seemed insignificant, but her superiors kept coming back to her and asking her to repeat these dishonest acts again and again and again, and it snowballed into something really big. And so it's better to not even go down that road. I think that it's also a red flag that her manager used the word flexible. I think that in itself is being dishonest. He's using a word that doesn't have a negative connotation, making it seem like it's not that big of a deal, but when it really is. And so I think that the biggest argument that she could make is that the reputation of the firm is at stake, and they can't have a reputation of being dishonest. Look at what happened to Arthur Andersen once they had the reputation of not being ethical. I mean, it collapsed completely. Also, the next question, it assumes that Brenda had already made the decision to not report the revenue in the first year, and it says, what would I do in that situation if the revenue had already been reported, and then they come to me in the second, had not been reported, and then they come to me in the second year and say, here's some more revenue, we don't want you to report from gambling. And I don't know if I would be able to not report the revenue in the second year. It would be a lot harder, especially since I had already gone along with it for the first year. And so in a way, the character of Brenda has already been defined, and so her manager and the client are expecting that of her. And so that's my analysis of the tax return.